Welcome one and all to another episode of Tabletop Papercraft, a look at papercraft models suitable for wargaming and RPGs. This is episode number 4, and we are looking at davegraffam models, which can be found as PDFs on DriveThruRPG and Wargames Vault. Now, we are diverting a little from the previous episodes in that davegraffam models is not a free product line. There are a small number of free samples that you can download. I will be covering those first in this video, but the vast majority of the models will cost a small amount of money. Yeah, they cost money, but they are very cheap, and they do offer a lot of product for the price. Personally, I love the designs, the textures, the skins, and also the options provided in the files. The variety provided, both with over 150 models to choose from, and also within the individual PDFs are a selection of layers that can allow multiple model designs and appearances that can make every build unique. In fact, the reason why this video took so long to get done was that I kept looking at my collection and telling myself that I need to make more models to better represent the range. I finally saw sense, and I did stop and hence made this video. Be advised, most of these models don't have interior designs. A few do, but most of them don't. So if you want a building with an interior, you'll have to kind of do it yourself. Another thing is that amongst quite a few models, there are a lot of similarities. A lot of the models are very similar in design. So plan your purchases carefully so you don't end up with a lot of very similar buildings, so that you can purchase a variety of designs. Yeah? Another thing is to keep an eye on DriveThruRPG and Wargames Vault, because these things are on sale quite often, so you can normally get them cheaper than the retail price. And also look for the bundles. The bundles can save you a lot of money, and they can include a number of different models for a much cheaper price. I need to say that this is not a complete review of all of his models. I don't have all of his models. He has over 150, but I hope that I can show you guys a good selection and a representation of what the range involves. We will start now with the freebies, of which there are 4. Let's take a look at them one by one. Right, the first of the free models that you can actually get on DriveThruRPG or Wargames Vault is the cargo pod, and this is one of his science fiction models, and again it's one of his freebies. It is a one-page print PDF. It's a bit of a weird shape. It's quite a large cargo pod. If I bring some models in, you can see the sort of scale. It is a fairly big crate or cargo pod, as they're called. On a lot of the science fiction sets that I'll be showing you some examples later, you can get some more normal size crates in the PDFs that you buy, but these are normally in the ones you have to purchase. So this cargo pod is a bit larger, and if I remember correctly, on the free PDF there are a number of different designs that you can do by altering the layers. This is something I'll be mentioning quite a few times. On the davegraffam models, one of the things I really like is the use of layers. So when you go to the PDF, if you go to the left hand side, you can select the layer, like the layer button, and you can actually change the design. Now, I can't remember if all of these are on the free PDF, but these are some of the variation in terms of design for the cargo pod that you can find. Like I mentioned, the free PDF does have some alternate designs. I think, if I remember correctly, this one is definitely, I think, in the free PDF. But there's a bunch of designs that you can find, and like I say, they're nice big chunky pieces of terrain. Miniatures can easily use them for cover, when moving around, and they're easy to build. What I do is, before I fully assemble them, on the bottom surface inside, I actually put a couple of coins just to weight it down. As you can see, it always lands on that face there. So just to give it a little bit of weight when we put it on the tabletop to prevent it from moving around too much. So yeah, this is the first of the freebies. It is the cargo pod that you can download from DriveThruRPG or Wargame Vault. The second free model that you can get is the Hovel. Now this is, again, is a one-page PDF, free to download. And it's a very simple, small building. Now, it's easy to create, it's easy to build, it's one page, it's a simple fold and glue. The roof has little fold over to cover the inside layer, so it looks like wood on the inside layer there, so it doesn't look like white card or whatever on the inside layer. But if I remember correctly, this one doesn't have alternate designs, it doesn't have layers in the PDF, so it's a simple one design that you can print out. Like I say, it's very simple, very easy, but again, I'm going to be mentioning a bit later in this video, most of Dave Graffam's models don't have an interior. If you want to have your buildings to have an interior, I think there are, at this time of recording, there are 3 models that do have interiors. But the majority of them don't. So if you want to have these with interiors, for example, with role-playing games, you'll have to create it yourself. I have seen some videos on YouTube where people are creating the interior designs for these. I don't normally bother because I normally just use these for war games rather than RPGs. But this is a very simple build, very simple and very easy to make. You can make a bunch of these very quickly to fill up a tabletop battlefield, or to make a very quick village for RPG sessions. It's short and sweet, very simple. The Hovel. The third free model that you can get from Dave Graffam is the Observatory. Now this again is a one page, and it's like a fantasy or medieval stargazing hut. It's not big. If you print it at normal size, I mean, this is a 28mm figure. It's not a big building. It's not what you would probably expect an observatory to be. It's very petite, but it's a nice little model nonetheless. I did have a little bit of a problem with the telescope, the circular or the cylindrical pieces here. I did have a bit of a problem getting them to be circular. So that may be an issue. When I did the edging in black. That may have been a mistake. If I was to make this again, I'd probably edge it in brown if I could. I think the black's a little bit too harsh for such a small model because it has a lot of lines. So that may not be the best color to use for the edging. But it's a nice little model to stick on the tabletop. Nothing special, but it's okay. And like I say, it's a little bit small to what I thought an observatory would be, but never mind. Now, the fourth and final free model that you can get from Dave Graffam is the coach house. Now, I think this is my favorite of the free models. I mean, the cargo pods are pretty good for scatter terrain. The Hovel and the Observatory are quite little cute models, but the coach house is, I suppose you could say, a decent model for wargaming terrain. It's a pretty hefty building. if you see here with the size of the model, yeah, it's a pretty hefty sized building. And again, it's free. This is 5 pages. But again, it's nothing complex. It's a simple build. The reason it's 5 pages is because the model is quite a large size. So you'll need a lot of pages to actually fit all the sides of the building on there. But it's a very simple build. And what you'll find with a lot of the davegraffam models is that they follow a simple formula, or a similar formula, in that a lot of the buildings kind of follow the same design in terms of the overall shape and aesthetic. And in terms of assembling, most of them are kind of the same thing in terms of putting them together. So this model does come with different layers, which means when you have the PDF, you can actually do different designs. So I think this one I did with wood, as a wood surface, but I think if I remember correctly, the PDF also includes brick and stone, so you can actually create more than one different model from this PDF. And like I say, this is a very good free model, very good for war games, for tabletop games. Again, it doesn't have an interior by default. You'll have to come up with your own interior if you want to open it up for RPGs and whatever. But again, it's a nice little, it's not so little, but it's a nice model to start with, and it's a good one to practice the general assembly design when you move on to some of his other models. I highly recommend this one. The other 3 models are kind of, well, yeah, they're free, get them. But this one I do recommend because it's quite a nice little model to put on the tabletop. Yeah, but this is 5 pages. Right, that's the 3 models quickly covered. I will now show you some of my some of the models that I have purchased and built. Now, don't worry when I say purchase, because davegraffam, his products are very, very cheap. A lot of them are $1 or $2 for the PDF, and a lot of the PDFs, again, as I mentioned before, they have layers where you can actually have very different designs from the same PDF. It will be the same building, but the look, you can change the look quite a lot. So I mean, in terms of his products, they range from about $1. I think the most expensive single model is about $9. But you can get bundles where you can save a lot of money. I mean, the prices aren't expensive anyway, but you can get these bundles on DriveThruRPG and Wargame Vault where you can get like 10 different models or 5 different models, and you can save a lot of money. The bundles will go up to $33. I think that's the most expensive that I found on the website. But a lot of the bundles are cheaper, and you get a lot of models within that payment. And it is a very cheap way of getting terrain for war games or for RPGs. So I do highly recommend these. Now, we're going to be looking at the fantasy or the medieval style first, and then we'll go on to the science fiction afterwards. Now, this one is the Dutch barn. And I've actually made 2 of these for my games. I think for this one there wasn't a lot of variety in the PDF. Again, I'll have to check and see, but I don't think there was much in terms of different layers. But I liked this design, fine, and I made 2 of these. Again, it follows the same basic formula as most of his buildings. You have the main walls all attached to each other. You have the roof that folds over the top and attaches to tabs underneath here. This model comes with a couple of dormers that you can put on. I think you have the option of not having the dormers if you want to, so you can just have the plain roof. Again, very, very simple, but on the battlefield it's very effective. Now, this of course would be much more suitable in a farm environment, an agricultural environment, a rural environment, but there's nothing stopping you from putting this into a fantasy village or even a Wild West village if you're into cowboys, like Deadwood. Is it Deadwood? I can't remember the name of the game. The Savage Worlds style, the Pinnacle game. But yeah, I mean, if you're playing some kind of cowboy game, this would fit in perfectly well. So this is the Dutch Barn. It is a 3-page PDF, and I think the retail price is $2. But a lot of the time you'll find that Dave Grafham's models are on sale. So you'll be able to find this at a reduced price. I think at the moment it's at half price. So I think you can actually pick this up for $1 at the moment. Simple model, but effective on the table. The Dutch Barn. All right, moving on from the Dutch Barn, we have the Storehouse. This is a larger model. Again, as you can see, I'll put my little necromancer model there. Maybe a zombie munchkin. This is a little bit bigger than the Dutch Barn, as you can see. It's a pretty hefty model to represent grain storage, maybe. But it's a nice big model. Something like this, I think, would be good to have an interior. The basic model doesn't come with an interior, but I think this would be nice to actually create with an interior, mainly for RPG use, but I mean even for tabletop war games, because a building this size would be good to have little firefights to go inside, and maybe for models to find cover and stuff. This is a 6-page PDF, and it is, I think the retail price is $2 again. But again, a lot of the time these are on sale on Drive-Thru RPG or Wargame Vault, so you can normally find this for cheaper than $2. But the retail price I think is $2. But yeah, another nice model, but this one's a bit big, a bit chunky. Now, those of you who have been watching my Reign in Hell videos may recognize this one. This is the crypt. I've been using it for Reign in Hell games to represent shrines and whatever. This is a nice model. It's a little bit more involved than the other ones. It has a few more parts to build, but nothing complex. Nothing as complex as some of the Ebels or the Topo models I've covered before. So this is the crypt. A nice little model, would be nice in a graveyard terrain set. Doesn't come with gravestones or anything, but you can find gravestone models very easily. This is a 5-page PDF, and this is, I think retail is $3. Again, it comes with a whole batch of layers, so you can have different design roof, you can have tile, different style of roof design. In terms of the walls, you can have brick. I think this is the stone design. You can have brick, you can have grey, you can have different colours as well. For the pillars, they also have different tops here, different design for the pillars. You can also, in your design, when you look at the layers, you can also have without these alcoves, with or without the lanterns. There's a lot that you can do with this, again, to make every one that you build unique and different. This is a very nice little model. I really do like this one. Like I say, I've been using it a lot in Reign in Hell, the demonic skirmish game. But yeah, this is 5 pages, and I think the retail price is $3, but you can normally find it for less than that. It's always on sale. The Crypt. Right, this one. This is one of the bigger models that I have built for Dave Graffam. This is the Country House. In terms of size, well, again, let's put a 28mm model here, a necromancer, again with one of his zombie munchkins or zombie children. The Country House is a 7-page PDF. but it only retails for $2 if I remember correctly. I think it's only a $2 PDF, and it's a very big, it's a pretty big piece of terrain. I mean, if I put the hovel, this is the free hovel model next to it, you can see that the country house is a fair size bigger. If I bring in the coach house again, which is another one of the other free models, again you can see it's a little bit bigger than that. But again, this is a very nice model, a little bit different in design, a little bit more work in terms of assembling this, because you have 3 basic structures. You have the basic house here, you have the sub house, and then you have the tower. Another thing that I like about Dave Graffam, that again I'll probably mention later, is I love the skins and the textures and the designs that he has for the walls. Some of the other manufacturers, I'm not such a big fan, because the surface textures, the artwork isn't as nice. It doesn't look as realistic. It looks lower quality, but Dave Graffam just seems to get it right for me. Again, it's a matter of opinion, but I really like the way that his surface textures, the brickwork, the stonework, the tiling looks. I like the color choice. I like the style. It just works for me. Like I say, some of the other manufacturers, they have a lot of fans, but it doesn't appeal to me as much. And like I mentioned before, with Dave's extensive use of layers on his models, you're not just stuck with one design. You can add and change whatever you want. So yeah, again, highly recommended. And this country house is a nice big building to put in your village. Again, should there be an interior? Well, it wouldn't hurt, but of course that's going to pump up the price. So, I mean, I play mainly war games rather than RPGs, so for war games it's fine. So this is the country house, a bigger model. Okay, up next, this is the Crescent Moon Tavern. This is a 4-page PDF, and this is a bit confusing to me. This is a $4 PDF. So this is more expensive. It's twice as expensive as the country house, which is a lot bigger than this. Now I'm thinking that the reason it's more expensive is that maybe there are more variations that you can make in terms of the layers. That's the only thing I can think of. Again, I'll have to check the PDF, but I can't see how this is double the price of the country house or the storehouse or the Dutch barn, because it's not a complex model. You have the main building, you have an extension here, you have a chimney. You have on the PDF you have layers that you can remove or add. For example, the vegetation here, the bushes, that's a layer that you can select or deselect on your model. The piping on the side of the house here, the pipes, again, these are on a layer which you can remove or you can keep. The water damage, the water stains here, again, it's a layer that you can add or keep. And again, if you can see, I don't know whether you can see here, but on the roof, again, there's that lichen and moss and water damage. Yeah, all these things you can add, you can take away, you can mix. I think for this one, I can't remember if there were different designs or layers for the brickwork, but I went for a sort of Tudor style here. Yeah, again, a very basic model, very simple to build. Most of these models, I think pretty much all the models, come with a base as well, which has the basic, like the basic shape of the building to put down on, and then you can mount this. I mount this on artboard, on mounting board. But most of the buildings come with one of these bases that give you the kind of silhouette of where it's supposed to go. Again, if you look at the coach house, again, this comes with a base, like a base design, so you can actually put it on here. You don't have to, you can put it on whatever you want, but it comes with a base design. You can see here, where it's supposed to go. So the Crescent Moon Tavern, it's $4. I mean, compared to the other models, I don't know. I think it's a bit overpriced, but it's a nice little model nonetheless. Something different to add to the village. Yep. Next is the Guild Hall. This is a 3-page PDF. Retail price I think it's $4 as well. So this is another one of his more expensive models. I say expensive. $4 is not expensive really, but it's one of his more expensive models. Most of his models are kind of like $2 or $3. This one is $4. Again, I'm not exactly sure why this is more expensive. The only reason I can think of is that it has more options. Yeah. So this is a simple building. If I was going to be doing a village, this would probably be the more common structure in the village. Maybe I built another version here, so you can see the difference in design that you can do from the one PDF. These both come from the same PDF, the Guild Hall, but by changing the layers, you can really change the design in terms of the structure material. Here I've got brick, here I've got wood. Here I've added a window, I've added pipes. If you look at the roofs, is it roofs or roofs? I think it's roofs. You can see that there's very different designs of roof here, which you can select. Like before, you can choose to add vegetation at the bottom. For this one I have, for this one I haven't. Here I've put a door, here I haven't. Again, things like doors and windows, the layers will give you differing positions, so that again, just you can have the same basic design, but you can change the position of the door. It's all very simple to do, and it gives you such variety in terms of populating your village in terms of structures and buildings. I like this one because it's a good generic building for villages and for battlefields and things, and you can do a lot of different designs with this one structure. But again, for $4, I mean, it's still very good value for money. And like I say, this is a very simple one to build. This is very, very quick to make. Very quick to make. And you can make a huge village out of these very, very easily if this is going to be the basic structure for the village. And then you put in some, maybe a couple of Dutch barns, maybe a country house for the kind of the lord or the mayor of the town kind of thing. So yeah, the Guild Hall is a good little model. I really like this one. Right, next one. The next one is the Clock Tower. Now, at the time of recording, Dave Graffam has, I think, 2 different designs for the Clock Tower. This is the original, the older design. It's a simple tower. I think the Clock Tower number 2 has a building attached to the tower. I have that, but I haven't built it yet. So this is a very simple clock tower. Would be really good in the center of town, in the town square at the center. Again, there are a lot of different layers on this to make it look unique. The design in terms of the structure material, in terms of vegetation, windows, you can have different windows in different positions. You can have miscellaneous things like these wooden boards for repairs. Even the clock, I think there's different designs for the clock face. So yeah, this is a simple design. Now for this one, again, let's put a miniature here for scale. For this one, I did actually make another one, which I can't remember whether I showed this in the Ebels video, but I did make another another one, a little bit smaller. You can see the size difference. This is scaled at 100%, so this is scaled for 28mm. This smaller one, this is scaled for micro armor or 6mm scale or 1/300 scale. And as you can see, I used a totally different design for this. For this one I used brick. Here I used the wooden plaster, like the Tudor style. But this one I just used a brick design. I put a door in a different position here, different windows and everything. So yeah, again, this is one of the advantages of papercraft or even 3D printing, is that from one file you can actually make models for different scales of miniatures. So this clock tower here is for 28mm gaming, which is very, very popular. But you have the ability to scale it down for other games and other rule sets and for other miniatures. This is 6mm scale. I've got a couple of other models that I scaled down from one of my 6mm projects that I'm currently working on. So this is the clock tower in both 28mm scale and 6mm scale. Another one of the larger buildings of his that I've built. I am in the process of moving to a new house, so I don't want to. And my storage at this house, my current house, isn't that good, so I haven't made a lot of his bigger models. But this is the village pub, and this is a pretty big model. Again, let's have a look at scale. This is a 28mm figure. This is the Hovel. So this is a much bigger model. It is 8 pages, and it is, I think the retail price for this is $4 US. But again, it's always on sale. You can find it cheaper very commonly. It's very commonly on sale. So this has a balcony here. There are a couple of supports that come with the model for the balcony, so you can put models in here, no problem. It is fairly sturdy. You have a coal shed here. There's a couple of dormers that you can fit. Now, here's the thing. With this model, there are some options. The extension here, which you can see, the extension, shunk. The extension here, you don't have to add. This is optional, this part. So you can just build it with this structure, and the roof will go along here, it will finish here. But you do have the option to put this extension. You do have this optional roof part here. Well, it's actually, this part comes in 2 different sizes. It comes in one size here, and it comes in this size with the extension here. The dormers, you don't have to put the dormers on. They're optional. There's the chimney, again, is optional. But again, there are layers so that you can reposition windows, you can reposition doors, you can change the material on the roof, you can change the material for the walls. Again, there's a lot of things you can do for this. Again, it comes with its base that you can use or not use as you wish, which will have the template or the seating template for the model here. This is a much bigger model, and again, I don't know, I'd like this to have an interior. It'd be really good for role-playing with an interior, but like I say, there are some videos on YouTube where they show you how to do interiors for these models. I haven't done that just purely because of time. But yeah, I'm hoping that davegraffam does come up with more models which do have interiors. I think at the moment, at this time of recording, there's 3. There's a very small house, there's a warehouse, I think, and then there's a larger house. I think it's called the Widow's House. Those come with basic interiors, the basic interior walls. In terms of decoration and furniture, you'll have to find those elsewhere. Now, with this model, I also did a 6mm. Let's get it in view. I also did a 6mm scale version for, again, a future project. You can see the size difference. So again, I've got the balcony here. Now for this 6mm version, I didn't put the supports because they were just too damn hard. They're just causing too many problems to do at this scale. But I did the balcony, I did the dormers, the chimney, I did the extension. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, it doesn't lose any of the detail when you make different smaller scales like this. And I think this would look quite impressive on the balcony, on the battlefield, on the balcony. This would look pretty good on the battlefield, on the 6mm battlefield. But you can see there the comparison between the two models. I think these were the pre-designed ones. I don't think I actually modified any of the layers for these ones. I think these ones were the pre-designed ones, which I was perfectly happy to use. But yeah, you can go in, you can change the layers and change the designs. I think you can, decide whether to have or not have these lanterns and windows and structure materials. But yeah, I just went with the pre-designed ones for these ones, just to save some time. So this is the village pub. 8 pages. It's a bit more complex, and I think that retails for $4, but again, you can normally find it cheaper than that. Okay, the final model that I'll be showing here for the fantasy or medieval structures is the village chapel. It's a church, basically. This is a 10-page model. So the PDF is 10 pages, and as you can see here, it is quite a complex build. There's a lot of things to make. Well, I mean, it's not complex. There's a lot of things to build. It's still fairly simple to make, really. This, I think the retail price for this is $6 US. Because it is substantially bigger, there are a lot more parts, hence the higher price. Now for this one, I haven't made the 28mm scale version yet. I haven't made the full size version yet, again, because I don't have the storage at the moment for this, but I will be making this when I get to the new house. This is the 6mm version. As you can see, the necromancer's a giant. The 28mm doesn't go with this. This is 6mm scale. And as you can see, it comes out really nice, for 6mm. But yeah, this is the basic design. I'm showing all these because you can see these on Drive-Thru-RPG. You can see the graphics and everything else, but it's nice to actually see the physical models themselves. Yeah, so I'm hoping this video will do that for you, so you can actually see the physical models themselves and what they actually look like once you've made them. But yeah, this is the village chapel. $6, 10 pages. But again, you can normally find it cheaper when you go to Drive-Thru-RPG or War Game Vault. But this is a really nice. And again, there are layers, so you can change the design. You can change the roofing. You can change the walls. So yeah, this is another really nice model from Dave Graffam, the village chapel. Right now, we'll move on to the some of the science fiction models that you can find for Dave Graffam. Not as many. His fantasy or medieval range is a lot larger, but there is a decent amount of choice for science fiction or science fantasy, the more futuristic sort of buildings. We'll start off with this. This is the watch station. This is a pretty big building. Let's put some models here for scale. It's a pretty big construct. Comprises of a lot of parts, so this will take some time to build. Again, comes in a multitude of different colors and layers and designs. So all these modules that you see here on top, the antennas, all these things can be repositioned, added, not added, left off. Again, there's a lot of variation that you can do when you're actually designing these things and printing them out. So again, every one that you make can be completely different. Again, there's one of the things I really like about Dave Graffam's models is that there is such a variety when you go through all the different layers. So this is the watch station. It is a 7-page PDF, and I think the retail price is $4 US. And it represents, I don't know, I can see this in 5 parsecs from home. I can see this in Necromunda. I can see this in all kinds of post-apocalyptic or like science fiction games, Warhammer, Warhammer 40k, Warzone. I mean, like I say, there's a lot of games that I can see this being used. Let's move these little guys out of the way for a second. The model itself, like I say, it's a pretty decent size. On the tabletop, makes a pretty good impression. But like I say, there's a lot of parts to build for this, so it may take a little bit of time. Nothing complex. Again, what you'll find with Dave Graffam's models is that the actual build and assembly is very, very simple. It's just a matter of how many parts you have to make and how it goes together. It's the vast majority is very, very simple to make. It's just a matter of time. This one, again, is very simple to build. All the different components are very simple sort of box construction, but it just takes time because there's so many to make. And if you choose to edge or mount, I mean, this part here I've actually mounted on a piece of mounting board just to make it a little bit stronger. And here the roof, I actually mounted the roof on mounting board as well, again just to give it a little bit of strength, a little bit of rigidity. But yeah, it's a nice little model. I'll probably make another one, a different color. Also, you'll notice here that it has like numbers. So this would be watch station 19. You can repeat the numbers, but you can change the numbers. I can build another watch station, and I can put different numbers on here on the roof. Yeah, the numbers are repeated on the roof, but again, I can change all of those. So I say, with Dave Graffam, one of the things I really like is the variety that you can make from one PDF. There are some PDFs where the variety is not there, maybe some of the older models and things like the Hovel. But most of his models, you have a lot of choice in terms of what you want to do. For example, the Observatory that I showed earlier, the freebie, I think that has a whole bunch of different designs that you can actually print out and build. But yeah, the watch station, very nice. You can see this in my upcoming 5 Parsecs from Home campaign games. This will be featured in those. As will these guys. These are Offworld Habitat number 1. There are two products which are named Offworld Habitat number 1 and number 2. This is number 1, Offworld Habitat number 1, and these are the smaller buildings. These are 1 page each. Yeah, so each of these buildings just takes up 1 page, and I think the PDF, I think the retail price is $2 US. Now I've made 4 of the same color because I'll be using these in 5 Parsecs and other science fiction games. But you can actually, again, with Dave Graffam and his layers, you can have different colors. This is like a desert yellow style color, but I think, if I remember correctly, there are 4, 5, 6 different colors that you can actually make these. Like a red color, a green color, but I did these in sort of like a more desert style. And also, again, as you can see here, you can change the numbers on the layers as well. So you can actually number these huts. Oh, you can't see the one. There you go, 14. So you can actually number these. Now, these are quite small, as we can see here. But they're supposed to represent 1 or 2 person habitats, yeah. Sort of the cheap option, the cheap seats, the cheap options for colonists or maybe even soldiers, yeah. And again, the PDF gives you options in terms of what the design will look like. So, I mean, for all of these buildings, I've put the module on top with the antenna. But if you notice, I've put in different positions. So these are positioned differently to these ones. You'll also notice that at the front here, I've put a module here, but there's not one there. Yeah. I mean, they've both got one at the back, but they're in different positions. So again, there's a lot of variety that you can do with these little buildings. You can make them all their own little unique designs and styles. Yeah, and again, you can just put them all together, yeah, to make a little street, yeah, a little living area in your science fiction town or battlefield. Nice little models, very cheap, and like I say, there's a lot of different colors and designs for these, so you can really go to town and really fit them to your particular gaming environment, whether it's the sandy surface of Mars, whether it's a more marshy planet that you're fighting over, maybe it's a more urban style. I mean, you can select the colors on the PDF to actually suit where you're going to be playing. But I went for a more general kind of sort of yellowy desert color for these. So this is Habitat 1, Offworld Habitat 1. Offworld Habitat number 2 is a bigger structure, but it has a lot of similarities in design. So if I show you here, this is Offworld Habitat 1, this is Offworld Habitat 2. So you'll see that there are some similarities in the design. And again, with Habitat 2, you can have a lot of different colors and layers. So for example, again here you can see I've put a number here. You can put different numbers. You can add or remove features here, there, up on top. You can put windows or not put windows, or windows in different positions. So ladders you can choose to put or not put. So there's a lot of, like I say, there's a lot of variety within this file. So this I've done as a more sort of residential habitat number 2. You can also do as a medical facility. Again, you can add sort of medical signs and labels. You can even do as a bar. Yeah, so I have 3 constructed here and very different designs. You have the bar, you have the hospital, you have the residential or common room, common building. So again, stick these somewhere on the battlefield, perfectly usable in any kind of science fiction game. So Offworld Habitat 2, these are 3 pages each. So the PDF has 3 pages for these, mainly because of the size. And I think the retail price for this is $3 US. Yeah. But like I say, from the one PDF, you can make a lot of different buildings, different colors, different designs. Yeah, you'll notice 3 different colors. Right, next we have the checkpoint product or PDF. So I think these would be more objectives maybe, or just sort of scattered terrain to represent ATMs, or maybe rubbish, like scrap deposit areas within your battlefield. I will probably be using them as objectives, where for example if you have to get a guy to the center of the board to kind of access a terminal, then I'll probably be using these as the terminal. So the checkpoint PDF is 2 pages, and it's a retail I think of $3 US. But again, within that PDF you have so much variety in different colors and layers that you can really go to town to create different designs of checkpoints like these. And like I say, on a battlefield you don't have to just have one, you can have these scattered around the place to represent different things. So you could have, and again you can have different different bases as well. These base floor tiles basically come from the same PDF as well. So you can have different designs and different colors. Yeah, I've done 3. Yeah, I've made 3 of these objective markers so far. Different colors, different designs, different floor tiles. But all of this comes from the PDF. And this is not all you can do. You can do a lot more to this You'll notice here that this checkpoint's just a basic shape. I haven't added any of these little extension points to it. This one, I've added 2 extensions to the basic shape and 1 on top. Here, this one, I've added 4 extensions and the 1 on top. So you can really go to town making these all different designs, different shapes, different colors. Again, to represent different things. This could be for biohazard materials. This may be for, I don't know, maybe a water dispenser. This may be for like scrap materials, or maybe like an ATM machine or something. And I guess this is a nice little random product that you can just fill in some of the little things in your. It's not, again, they're not huge. You're not going to provide a hell of a lot of cover for your miniatures, but like I say, I'll probably be using these as objectives in games. The last of the science fiction models that I'll be showing, and again, I'm not going to show all the models that you can get from Dave Graffam, because I don't have all of them. He has like over 150 different models, so I'm just showing you a selection, things that I've actually built, things that I'll be using. But this will be the last one for this video. This is the Babylon set. So this is focused on science fiction, post-apocalyptic kind of buildings. Now Babylon, you can get, I think you can purchase there's 4 different sets. They're basically the same designs, just 4 different colors. I think this was the Toxic Sand set, if I remember correctly. Now this is one of the more expensive Dave Graffam products. This I think was $10 US. But wait. It's fine. This $10 US gives you a hell of a lot in terms of building stuff. I can't remember exactly how many pages it is, but it's a lot of pages, because it's like a modular design. I mean, if you were around the days of the first edition Necromunda and the first edition Mordheim, they came with these terrain pieces, these buildings that you kind of built, and then you kind of expanded upon. Well, this is kind of like the papercraft version of that, where you can build all these structures, and then you can add them, you can sort of put them together. There are ladders. I haven't built the steps or the ladders yet. There are walkways that you can put from one building to another building, and you can actually make a whole gaming like town or gaming area just from these buildings. You just build a load of these buildings of different sizes and different shapes, and you can actually cover the whole tabletop with these to create this 3-dimensional fighting area. Let me see if I've got the. Okay, so I mean this is the instructions. So you can see here that you've got 3 different sized structures here put on top. You got, I think this is one structure, or a few structures again put here, different designs. You've got a walkway, you've got these stairs going up, and again you can make a lot of these components and just cover the battlefield with these to give models places, elevated places to shoot, places to hide inside and get cover. Now at the moment I've only built 3 structures. 2 of that size and 1 slightly larger, but this is a work in progress. I'm going to be making a lot more of these, but I wanted to get this video out. I've delayed this video for way too long. It's always a case of I think I mentioned this at the start of the video. With Dave Graffam, the problem is, for this video, it was a case of, do I have enough models to give a good representation of the range? And I kept saying to myself, no, I should really add one of these, and I should really add one of those. At some point I had to stop and say, enough, I've got enough to show the guys exactly what Dave Graffam has to offer. And at the moment I've only made 3 of these. I can show you what they're like, but I will be making a lot more. I know that there are some people on the I think it's the 5 Parsecs Facebook group. There's a guy, I honestly can't remember his name, but he did a wonderful table where he basically filled it with these buildings, and it was a wonderful sight. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Also, these are one of the few Dave Graffam models that actually has interiors. So again, you can furnish this with furniture and bits and pieces from other places, but this is one of the few actual models that you can actually have interiors for. And again, here you can see, I don't know whether you can see actually, but yeah, you've got the interior here. All the interior design is there. This one again, you can see there's an interior here. So he does have a bundle package where you can get all the 4 colors in one package, one bundle. I'm not sure how many people would buy that. I mean, it's basically the same models, the same designs. It's just in 4 different colors. I'm quite happy with just the one color, to be honest. I don't think I'll be buying any of the other colors. But yeah, I'm planning on making a lot more of these to create or to cover a bigger part of the table and have multiple layers. I think these you can make each individual structure. I think you can make up to 8-inch square. I think this is a 6-inch square. I think these are 4-inch square. I think the biggest individual structures you can make are 8-inch square, but of course you can put them together to create much bigger areas. There's nothing stopping you there. So yeah, these are the Babylon models. Again, nice. These are really nice, really strong, with interiors, which is nice. So yeah, I'm going to be making a lot more of these for upcoming games of 5 parsecs. Now there is one more thing I'd like to show you before I finish the video and get back to modeling for the upcoming games. Dave Graffam does have a number of other products. I will put some pictures up after this, where you can see the different things like the gaming mats that he makes and everything else. But there is one more thing that I'd like to show you, and that is, but this is the thing, I haven't made them yet. I will be putting these together. This is another one of the things where it's a case of, oh, I should really make these and show these off because it's to represent what Dave Graffam has to offer. But I just haven't got around to it, and I'm so fed up delaying this video. I need to stop. So yeah, the thing I'd like to show you, this is story dice. Now he has 2 versions of this. He has a science fiction and he has a fantasy version of this. Now this is a download. Oh man, I can't remember how much it was. I can't remember how much the PDF was for this. But again, it wasn't expensive. So you may have seen these in on sort of board game websites or in toy shops. You can buy these like dice where you roll the dice, and from what the dice give you create a story based on the words or the symbols. Well, this is something similar, but these are used for things like RPGs or war games to help you make decisions or to sort of give answers to questions. So these are, again, the PDF comes with the instruction about how to use them and what each dice is, because this is the thing, I'm going to have to remember which dice they are. This is the science fiction. This is the science fiction set, and again, apologies, I haven't built them yet. I've been too busy doing other things. But again, they're simple box builds. So here you've got event dice, so robots, cargo, payout, culture, NPC disposition, travelers. And again, what you would do to make a decision or to see what happens if you're playing solo, you can roll these dice: planetary objects, space hazards, terrestrial features, alien features. You just roll these dice, and then it would help you to make a decision or help the game AI kind of thing. Yeah. Previously, I have been using books of tables where you'd roll on tables to kind of get things like alien names, adventure ideas, asteroid belt encounters, space hazards. I mean, I have been using these books of tables previously, but this is another option that you could use. You could just, instead of rolling dice on a table, you could just roll dice which have the various information on them. So again, this is another little thing that you can get from Dave Graffam that's, I don't know, it's interesting. I don't know, maybe more for the RPGs, but like I say, it's a little extra something that you can get from Dave Graffam's PDFs. Yeah, story dice.